drugs, tobacco, cell phones, even a laptop. How is this contraband getting? How is it getting into the prisons, right? Because inmates are obviously strip searched. Anytime they go anywhere, they're getting strip searched. Their cells are getting tossed all the time. So the inmates can't have that stuff and don't have that stuff. But where's it coming from? How are inmates getting cell phones, iPhones, bags of tobacco, heroin, hypodermic needles? I mean, like, it's all in there. So where is it coming from? Well, a lot of people say, oh, it's the guards. It's the guards. I'm here to tell you, it's not the guards, right? I know that they're an easy scapegoat to pick on and say, oh yeah, they're crooked and this, that, and the other. So in I'm speaking about California. The prison guards in California are the highest paid prison guards ever, right? They get paid exceptionally well. They have the best benefits than any other state worker. Like when they go to like full vision, dental, medical, when they go to see the eye doctor, they got like 3 pairs of like designer glasses coming, plus a pair of sunglasses, plus all that for their family. It's really good benefits, really good pay. They get hazard pay, so like when there's a riot and everyone's on lockdown, they get hazard pay, which is, I don't know if it's time and a half or double time, but it's extra pay, just because the prison is in a state of emergency or lockdown or security or whatever. So they got stuff like that. They get paid vacation, all these sick days, and on top of that, here's the icing on the cake. When they retire, their pension that they all got coming, their pension is 80% of their salary at the time of retirement. So a CO that's been there about 20, 25 years is probably pulling in at least $100,000 a year. So let's just say it's $100,000 just to make it a round number. So once they retire, they get $80,000 a year for the rest of their life after they retire. So they are not going to jeopardize all that for you. They're just not going to do it. Not going to do it. If there's any COs, I know there's a couple of COs that watch this channel. Maybe you guys could chime in a little bit, but I'm sure every once in a while a CO might, bring something in, but I've never seen it. Because like I said, they have way too much to lose. They got it way too good to risk it over an inmate, from their perspective, are they going to really trust these guys in prison to like keep their word when they get caught, to not rat them out? You know what I mean? Like it's just got bad news written all over it. So it begs the question, how is the stuff coming in? Well, when there's a will, there's a way. And in prison, stuff that you can't have, like phones, like tobacco, like drugs, everything is like super inflated prices, right? Because it's supply and demand. Like like drugs, for example. Most everyone in prison likes drugs, right? That's a very, very high demand. And there's a very, very low supply because, whereas like it's not like the streets where you could just, get it. So, for example, a gram of heroin, let's just say, costs $50 on the streets. In there, $200 for a little gram. So there's like thousands of dollars to be made. A cell phone, if you went to Walmart and got a burner track phone, like the most basic, like little smartphone that you can get, like a burner, you're looking at like at least $500 for that, but probably more like $800 to $1,000. And if it's like a better phone, like an iPhone, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So there's a lot of money there. A can of tobacco that costs $20 or $30, that'll go for at least $100. So where there's a will, there's a way, but it's not the guards. So there's different avenues for how that stuff gets brought in. First, one way is the mail. They do screen all the mail that comes in, right? So you can't like put a bag of dope in the mail, for example. But what some people do is they'll like soak paper in, they'll do that K2 synthetic marijuana stuff called spice, and they'll soak that into the paper. And then when they receive the mail, they'll cut the paper up in small pieces and like smoke it, and then they fucking wig out. or that you do that with meth as well. Sometimes like people try putting like little bits of heroin underneath stamps, but that's chump change. That's small time. One of the main methods is through visiting, because in prison you get contact visits, meaning like you sit right with your family members or your girl or your brother or whoever's coming to see you. You sit down at a table with them, you can hug them, and they can go to the vending machines and buy food, right? So they'll have these little bundles of dope, right, that are about the size of an M&M, like a peanut M&M, wrapped up in latex, and so they'll go get some M&Ms from the vending machine, and on the sly, kind of like put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 balloons in there. Then they'll act like they're eating some, and then they'll pass the bag of M&Ms to the inmate, and the inmate will take a sip of soda, swallow them down, finish his visit, go back to the cell, and if it doesn't come out that end, it's going to come out that end. Know that. So that's one way, especially for dope. There's other ways too, like in the visiting room, if someone can arrange like a stash spot somewhere, like stash a bag, like have your visitors come loaded down, and they'll stash it like under a vending machine or in a dirty mop bucket, because there's inmate workers that are in there like mopping the floors while visiting is in progress. Throw it in there, boom, and then like on Monday they'll come in, they can get it out of there and smuggle it back to the yard that way. So that's a pretty common method. The other method is free staff. Free staff are civilian employees who work in the prison. So they're not custody, they're not prison guards, they're like teachers, medical, the free staff culinary. We call them free staff, but it's just, they're just civilians. Like in the kitchens, the manager of the kitchen, is going to be a civilian employee, and they're called free staff. And they don't get paid quite as good as like the guards do, and they're more susceptible to manipulation, and they're more susceptible to earning a little money on the side. So they'll bring it in, but sooner or later they all get caught, and if they get caught, they're fucked. So so that's another way it comes in. And then a third way is most prisons have a minimum support facility outside the fence or outside the wall, like a level 1 minimum yard. So like the guys that are like real small time, land of the milk and honey, eat ice cream and fucking hang out all day, Camp Snoopy. So when those guys need to go to medical, they sign up for medical, and then they get on a little van, and the van takes them behind the wall, and then they go into the main medical facility in the main prison. So at that minimum support facility, they can have drops made, like their family friends or whatever can come like in the middle of the night and like drop bundles of whatever off, and then the inmates will sneak out, and because the minimum securities don't have a fence, right? And you're on the honor system there, so they'll sneak out and they'll grab the bundle, and then they'll come and they'll make logs of whatever, tobacco, dope, contraband, and then they'll put it in their butt. Sign up for medical, and then go to medical. And when they're in the waiting room for medical in the little bullpen locked in with everyone, they poop it out, pass it to someone who's already knowing. They grab it, boom, and that's how that goes. So that's how it comes in, yeah. Now, I'm not giving up any game that fucking, no trade secrets here that people are going to be mad at me for putting it out there. This is shit that everyone already knows. But they just can't stop every little thing. They can't investigate. I mean, they can only do so much, right? Like if they get a tip, they'll send it to the investigative unit, and they'll come and investigate it. And people get caught all the time. People get caught at the minimum facilities making those drops, and they get busted. They're fucked. Where the free staff civilian gets busted because the inmate got caught and then ratted him out because he doesn't want to do the fucking whole time. So it's best to just not get involved in that shit if you're like an employee. But the money sure is tempting. I mean, you spend $200 on a track phone, and you'll have $1,200 cash app to your account the next day, right? Just bring that shit in. So I thought I'd tell you guys about that. We'll reconvene at the next video. I'm gonna go thug it out and do my thug dizzle. So you guys have a good one. I appreciate the support, and I love you guys, except for you. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah.